Ford himself is feeling great about the mandate he was given a year ago and how things are going to this point. You might recall it was all based on a campaign talking about protecting Ontario against the threat of U.S. tariffs and Donald Trump. And that has been much of the theme throughout the last year as well since that election was called. You might remember that it was about a month over the course of a campaign, and it was considered a snap election at the time. Of course, Doug Ford was also considered Captain Canada by many when he called the election, donning the Canada's Not For Sale hat. So as a result, a third consecutive majority government. He was calling for a larger mandate, ended up with about the same seat count after the election. It was Marit Stiles and the NDP ended up in opposition once again. Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie didn't even win her own seat. As a result, she has since left the party, and the Liberals remain in third place here at the legislature. Since then, it's been about the response to tariffs, keeping the Ontario economy afloat. Ford has said his government has been investing, attracting companies. He continues to fight and speak out against tariffs, of course. However, some would say that there's been some instability. The auto sector specifically has seen some layoffs. We all know about the Diageo or Crown Royal bottling plant closing, and that was certainly a highlight over the course of the last year. Housing starts remain down at this point. Lots to be determined about the education system overhaul that is underway. Ford actually spoke at the Toronto Board of Trade last night, and this morning, interim Liberal leader John Fraser said he was there and offers this summary over what was said.
It kind of felt a bit like the State of the Union. The Premier trying to convince us that everything is okay, it's good, we're building all these things. The challenge is if the things that happen inside the buildings, like hospitals and schools, aren't working, what's the point? Right now, families are hurting. Kids won't be able to afford a university education, a college education, or a trade. They've just reversed OSAP and put way too much burden on families.
It's now been 7.5 years since Doug Ford was first elected Premier, so the extra year, we're going to have another few years ahead at the same time. So at this point, they're looking forward, at the same time assessing how it's been since the election has taken place 1 year ago. And yesterday, it should be noted, at the announcement for the new Ontario Science Centre, Ford himself said he'd like to be Premier forever.